Alrighty guys, welcome back here to the Divergent Gaming Open. My name is SolidJake here with Dreadnaught, and this is the Grand Finals.
Absolutely, with UTA, here's the dorm team, aka Team Blaze Student Edition. That's what I'm calling them. And then we got Gale Force Esports, the one, the only, returning, definitely walking away with a couple of championships here at the Divergent Gaming Amateur Tournament. So it's going to be honestly a great matchup. I am going to be surprised to. I honestly, I'm going to throw it out there right out the gate. I feel like Blaze is going to be UTA's Heroes of the Dorm team. I feel like they're going to be a really strong group of players, and I feel like even though Gale Force Esports is the team walking in here with kind of like the belt, if you will, when it comes to the amateur series, I feel like this is going to be a really hard game for them to win, and I want to see if they're able to adapt. Let's say they lose game one. The most important thing is I want to see if they're able to adapt to game number two against UTA. Or honestly, maybe they'll just walk in and body him. I personally don't think that's the case, but if that's the case, I mean, more hats off to them, you know?
Hey man, I just want to see epic games. I want Bloodlust. I want Lee Ming. I still want to see here.
If there's a team that's going to do it, I'm calling it right now. I'm going to say it's the Heroes of the Dorm team that does it. I think Blaze will be the team. If anybody lets Li Ming through, it'll be them.
All right. Well,
I don't think you'll see Li Ming banned in any situation. Okay, so I think it's going to come down to like the double OP conundrum that kind of happened for a while back in the day. I don't remember who it was, but it was like Jaina and Kel'Thas, I want to say. If they were both so significantly stronger than every other hero in the game that if you banned one, the opponents instantly banned the other.
Yeah,
and it was just like. But if nobody banned them, then nobody banned the other one, and you just banned other things, right? And I feel like if we see them pull through, that'll be the case. I don't think you're going to see a situation where one goes through and the other kind of doesn't again between these final teams. But I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Gale Force last game banned the Li Ming. No, THC was the team that banned the Li Ming. See, they took the call out. They banned Zagara, Gale Force, so they were ready. They were ready to go. Hey, give us that Li Ming or that Rhaegar. We're ready to go in.
All right. Well, while we set up for our first match here today, I want to implore all of you to head on over to divergentgaming.com. They're putting on this event. They've got a beautiful website. You can learn a lot more about the events happening there, and you can obviously follow their Twitter at DG_open. And there's just a lot of great stuff. These events happen every week. You can sign up yourself. But also, make sure you check out Heroes Hype, Stormlords, and Next Verse. A lot of these are the top 4 amateur events we have in the community. And obviously, Chair League is a new up-and-coming thing as well. So there's just a lot of great opportunities for you guys to be hopping in, getting better with your team, getting practice, because what do we have going on in the pro scene? We've got Heroes of the Dorm coming up. That's not necessarily the pro scene, but it's still a huge opportunity for all of you to win free tuition. And I mean, if you watched Dorm last year, that event was insane, and you could be part of that. But also, we have 3 more qualifiers going on for the North America Opens. And you know, if you think you've got what it takes to compete, the best way to practice is with all of these events.
Yep, no, it definitely is. And one thing that a lot of people ask me is like, when they want to get involved in like the professional scene, and they just kind of are like, well, what do I do? Where do I go? And this is honestly it. It's you start with the amateurs. Like, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, that seems silly. There's professional players and everything else. But what a lot of people who are new don't realize that this tournament here and the amount of dollars that they're hosting and everything else is the exact same thing I worked for every single weekend in Kings of the Storm for like a year.
Yep.
Just for the $20 was all I was here for. And it means a lot at the lower levels of the game. And like, that's where you build it up. So anybody, if you ever have the drive to compete and are wondering your step into the world of Heroes of the Storm and competitive Heroes of the Storm, this is the place to get it started. So definitely look to get a part of it, and Divergent Gaming and all the opportunities they provide there. But we do have a draft link.
Yep, good to go with that whenever.
All right, and so let me just let them know that we're going to be good to go here. It's so convenient when I know most of the players on the team.
I know, you sent me that link before you. I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. Like,
yeah. It's because I know most of the players. Yuj is my boy. He's got me covered. The support life, you know, support
life.
It's cross supporting. We know how to do it. So he's got the help there, and I'm already in the lobby too. I'll give you an invite to that in a second here. But this is gonna be a great game. I already know the map. I'm not gonna spoil it. You now know the map as well. Hype the dream. Hype. This is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be battle, boys. We're already going into the draft.
Grand finals.
UTA gonna be first pick, first ban.
All right, so Stakes have gone up. We're getting a first map for tonight.
The call out Zagar ban, please.
And you know what? I know someone's going to call me out since there's a lot of people I know in this lobby right now. You'll see I'm a fraudulent rank 2. I have a story for you while we set up for this draft.
They're already in the draft.
Oh no.
That's what I'm saying. They're calling him out. They're straight up Zagara ban. This is where Gale Force needs to go. How do we feel about Li Ming? That's why I'm so hyped. It's like UTA calling it straight out. It's just like we're gonna let it go through. I really don't want to see them ban the Zagara or the Li Ming.
All right, Zagara's here. The Jake story will come, but after the draft. We're going to focus on the draft for now. As we load in, I'll tell my rank 2 fraudulent story. So, like you said, do they let Li Ming through? They do! They do! Tyrande ban! The dream. Please, please.
Is it going to be Li Ming or Rhaegar? See, it's going to be Rhaegar.
Oh!
No, up!
No!
Li Ming, but see, Li Ming and Kil'Thas don't work together, so I don't think both of them are going to be picked up. That's why I like the Rhaegar pickup. Not only because debatably he might be stronger, but the synergy between the two is pretty weak. So that first pickup, a UTA already showing their experience with the draft here. Honestly, it's going to be awesome. I'm not saying Gale Force won't do it, but I'm saying I don't know if they do it. If they're gonna it's really gonna come down to do they get the wombo, do they get the combo, proceed to kill everything. If they double up on the mages there, so. Oh man, this is gonna be awesome. So Rhaegar gonna be the first pick here. I think they will not let Li Ming go through. I think they'll pick Li Ming over Kil'Thas, and then I think Kil'Thas will be on UTA. I think they will look for, I don't know. I think they're already stumped on their draft, like Li Ming Thrall, something of that sort.
Yeah,
Gale Force
that sounds pretty
clinging
strong.
to the Thrall. It's a solid solo, not nearly as effective in this lap. Anytime Zagara's been banned, Thrall has been their absolute go-to. So I very much think it'll be a Li Ming Thrall. But Zeratul at the gates, there it is, Li Ming. Okay.
They haven't locked in yet. They're thinking about it. Yep. All right. She is here. That is very good. Oh, Zeratul. Talk about burst. Now, Li Ming is a hero that has a lot of siege, and she can whittle targets down to be very low. Zeratul just saw some nice buffs. He also saw a buff to Shadow Assault. Not saying we're going to see Shadow Assault, but it does have some viability now for sure. But that's a scary duo.
Yeah, no, it is scary. It's more terrifying for the fact that the S of Johan mixed with the full combo coming out from Li Ming is going to proceed to do an absurd amount of damage to her opponents. Think about it. You max range. You set up for the max range orb. You have S of Johan pull them in. You've got the Mirror Ball going to hit them with a massive amount of damage, and it's going to essentially just eliminate 1 to 2 people. Almost 100%. Disintegrate, possibly, or Force Wave. I forgot what it's called. But Falstad Stitch is going to be the response. I don't know how I feel about this. I like them as the heroes. I don't know if I like them this early in this draft. Kil'Thas going to be making it through. I think they're still making the call out here that they aren't going to run the two together.
Yeah, I think you're right actually, and I like the decision to not pick it up. So Tassadar ban, very smart considering Falstad Stitches. Just giving them that much control and the flexibility with the hook is a little scary. I don't think we'll see Farsight and Rhaegar trying to line up hooks, but you never know. And it's now time for UTA Hot D to ban their second hero.
What I really want to see Gale Force draw is some kind of spread, big bursty hero other than Li Ming. I think they need somebody to weaken so she can keep going in these drafts. I like targeting its tanks while UTA has their first tank up, and I love the fact that they let the Kil'Thas go through at that point, saying you're not going to pick it in this type of comp. They are looking like they're gonna now at this point, though. What do you think UTA is looking to with the Tassadar ban? I like that from Gale Force, obviously the synergy. What do you think they're looking to round out their comp with here for Gale Force?
Are they going to do this? Are they going to lock in the Kil'Thas?
I hope they do, honestly.
That's
I don't know. It's I mean, might as well.
That's so much damage. It's insane. But now they need a big front line. They need a solo warrior. Johanna's fairly strong at just being that lone warrior with ETC denial. Murden could be good too, but Condemn just has a little bit more of a control-y vibe to it. They don't really need the lockdown, but big support is something they do need, and having Uther available, definitely a strong pickup.
Yeah, no, I like the Uther pickup. Keep in mind, if D-Shield is used in an improper time, Gust can be used as an isolation tool that way.
True.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird matchup between those two when they use each ult. The Cho'Gall is hello team. I'm not
no.
against Cho'Gall's strength.
I mean, this got buffed a lot. But
yeah, they got buffed a lot, but I don't think this is the time.
Oh, they're flopping between Cho and Gall. Oh gosh.
We're getting trolled. It's huge. He's after me now. He can't support the supports anymore. Ultimately, when it comes to their comp, I think that I would like to see them get a lot of spread damage. I feel like Jaina would be a solid pickup here for the comp. I think Thrall, if they do decide to go with it.
They do it!
They do it. I mean, words, we literally can't even, boys. We have Li Ming, we have Rhaegar, we have Thrall. This just a call out on how strong they think Rhaegar is? What that was?
I mean, think of Ancestral on Cho'Gall. Like Cho'Gall.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. Uther is, in theory, way more effective when it comes to the solo heal. You're gonna see Ancestral hit, and it's not that good. Like, it's good, but it's not great. What I think it is it's the 16 Rhaegar. You can't outrun Cho'Gall, right? He's very hard to run away from if they stay on him as hard as they possibly can. They're relying on the Rhaegar's solo damage on a double, essentially with 2 melees, that they're going to get so much value out of his W that they don't even need a traditional damage dealer. I think that's their approach, honestly.
Dude.
I mean, I don't see enough of an argument for the Cho'Gall other than that, but, I mean, the hype's real.
I mean, Cho'Gall did get a big buff. Gall hurts a lot more, that's for sure. And the additional 33% radius on that lightning shield could be really scary on that target. But I'm pumped to see how they build them, because I really have no inclination as to exactly how we're going to see Cho'Gall played.
I want to see upheaval. That's all I'm saying. With the new changes to the other ultimate as well on Gall, I want to see upheaval. I want to see upheaval.
Twisting Nether is so much better now. Like, it actually hurts.
And Upheaval, in my opinion, is one of the coolest ultimates in the game. Hard to use, but really awesome. I don't know. It's like,
can you imagine Upheaval Gust?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's double the hook, double the fun, right? It's like you get Stitch's hook and like one of you backs out, and then it's like, nope, Chuck Tessa, we're gonna rake you back in, boys. You're gonna meet the Rhaegar with the big shields on the Stitches on the Cho'Gall. So, I mean, I honestly feel like I am at the point where my speculation is no longer important, other than the things I do know in this world, which is Gale Force, if they hit a 5-man combo, are going to do an absurd amount of damage. Also, things I've never thought about, Cho'Gall is in theory a soft counter to Li Ming. Because when one of them dies, both of them die at the same time, making the 2 deaths only proc 1 reset. Things I didn't think about. It's kind of like the old school it's like the old cool Abathur strat. When Stitches was picked, you picked Abathur, so you couldn't, like, 1 less body to get hooked.
It's an interesting way to look at it for sure, but it's definitely something to consider at the end of the day. This is so interesting, though. We've got huge damage on the side of Gale Force, but the lone warrior Leoric, I mean, he's not really known for being the prominent lone warrior, but he's going to be hard to kill. He's going to have a good amount of survivability, and Drain Hope is pretty strong against Stitches and Cho'Gall, but
I made the biggest mistake when analyzing this comp. Honestly, with the new changes of Rhaegar, I forgot that his W is now percentile. That's why this is such a scary comp.
Earth Shield. Yeah, Earth Shield.
The Earth Shield. I forgot they made
15% health.
That they changed it to a percentile. Mixed with the damage it's going to do, Cho'Gall is going to be a monster.
Yeah.
Holy.
And Stitches. With Hungry for More, like, the 2 of them are going to get so much shielding.
Oh, I'm actually
this is
afraid for
so interesting.
Oh, man.
I'm so excited, man.
But it's a 6-second cooldown, right? For Rhaegar with the level 4 talent. Rhaegar has a 6-second cooldown or downtime. What's
I believe it's on 6 seconds, and the mana cost goes down below half of the base at level 4.
That's absurd.
It's a really
increases the duration by 2 seconds. The cooldown is reset by biting.
Stormcaller reduces the mana from 60 to 35 and increases duration by 2. So it lasts an additional 2 seconds. Yeah, very powerful.
Then it's going to sit there with that kind of uptime on the shield is going to be absurd. Yeah. As long as he gets 1 bite into it, his W by default lasts 5 seconds on the target. Yeah, so it's an 8-second cooldown. It'll go up to the 7, so pretty much no downtime, or if he bites, and it stacks with the 16 tier. That's why people have been talking about this build and why it's so broken. But then also, He's going to essentially have a 15% of his maximum health Cho'Gall with 2 health pools put together. He's going to have that on roughly what's going to be a, I guess you could say 5-second cooldown as long as, or 6-second cooldown as long as Rhaegar gets the bite in. So that's going to be insane. The damage is going to be off the walls, that's for sure. What I'm more worried about is the shield for this health is where I become really afraid of this Cho'Gall. Ancestral, that's neat. The damage, that's definitely neat. But once I realize I have 6 seconds where he refreshes 15% of his maximum health, I'm like, I'm not about this.
Dude, this is going to be a heck of a game. Not only is it the first time we're casting Li Ming in competitive, we're seeing Li Ming with Zeratul Kael'thas, like some of the most blow-up potential ever, but their targets they're trying to blow up are like Stitches that's probably going to have Hungry for More, and then Cho'Gall with these 15% health buffs every time the shield comes out.
How do you get the reset if our health bars are 3 times the average hero's health bar? Seriously, that's
Wait, is
crazy.
that the Dorm Portrait? Are they rocking the Heroes of the Dorm Portrait?
I don't actually.
I think that is the Dorm.
Yeah,
Portrait
it is. It is the Dorm.
That's kind of awesome that they're a Dorm team and they're rocking the Dorm Portrait today. I think they'll probably have a new Dorm Portrait for 2016.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, but what do we want to see with the laning phase and decision making here on this map? One of the things I do. Feel like with the Cho'Gall pick that they struggle with here from, what is the name of their team? The Heroes of the Dorm, UTA Heroes of the Dorm. I'm just going to go with UTA. One of the struggles that UTA definitely has is that they, XP is the most valuable on this map comparative to every other map. The main reason for that being is if you gain a big enough XP lead, you essentially can choose how many shrines and shots your opponents are going to get, and those shots in the later game just snowball so much harder than the early game where you're almost inevitably only going to get 4. So Cho'Gall having weak soaking, I guess, because he commits 2 people to every lane that he goes to soak in, might be a problem. Falstad's going to be able to compensate a little bit for that in the early game, and it's something that I think they're really going to be able to do. Also, when it comes to Rhaegar, I feel like they're a little bit Rhaegar and Cho'Gall don't snowball too hard for the early game, and neither does Falstad. So I feel like early game they're team fighting. As long as Cho'Gall doesn't get to just kind of do what he wants, I feel like they suffer a little bit there.
I'm excited to see exactly how they split up, though, because you got to remember this is a 3-lane map, and Cho and Gall, that's 2 bodies in 1, so you become a little bit less flexible the way you kind of split up. Gall obviously having that phenomenal siege potential, so does Li Ming. She outranges towers with both her missiles and her orb, so she can poke down a tower alarmingly quick, but so can Gall. So the way these 2 teams kind of clash at the start of the game is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It is gonna be an interesting story. I'd like to see a tri-lane siege, from Gale Force, largely because I feel like they need to try and take advantage of the early game wherever they possibly can. That avoids just getting bodied by Li Ming resets and everything. I would like to see them try and do maybe a Zeratul solo with a KT, Ming Li, Uther tri-lane, Leoric solo as well. Leoric going to the mid lane or Zeratul, whatever has the better wave clear, and try and help them in the side lane, sieging up against them, because again, the slow, poor reactions from Cho'Gall, Falstad's going to be the only one who can answer because Cho'Gall makes 2 people rotate 100%. So even though he might win one lane, if you win the other 2, nothing else really matters, and it is possible because he's stuck together.
All right, so while we're stuck at this loading screen of death, I promised that story, the rank 2 fraudulent story. Long story short, I had been streaming, I had just done a patch analysis video, and things are great. Viewership's higher than normal, things are awesome, and Dunk Train comes on, he's like, hey Jake, let's play Hero. I'm like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. We get in, we start a game together, we're going to play some matches, and we're like, oh, let's do the Wolf Boy Dream. He locks in Rhaegar, I lock in Greymane, and we're going to howl to the moon and have a glorious time. And then my computer blue screens, and I derank 2 ranks. Oh my goodness! Just because if you abandon the lobby, if you evade that game, Blizzard says shame on you, and it punishes you severely. My computer decided I belong in rank 2. All those stories aside, we are here with the game. The loading screen has been defeated, and on the blue side, we have UTA Heroes of the Dorm team with Kieran Falstad, Yuge on Rhaegar. It's gonna be DXN on Stitches, and then Klastax playing as Cho'Gall.
Classic. Hexo is going to be on the Uther on the other Red Trunks. Mysticles is on the Zeratul. Fury is going to be on that Leoric. Ball and Beast is going to be on the Li Ming. And Alamau is going to be on the Kael'thas. So double mage here in the early game. Fury just going to play safe. Stitches are coming out. Not going to connect.
Okay, no connect there, but the poke is real from this team. Oh my goodness, as I say that, a very powerful orb going out from Li Ming. Definitely a dangerous poke from both teams. Leo trying to get out of there. Fury does survive the onslaught.
Yeah, and both teams actually sacrificing a lot of soak. Falstad not making the fight there. Zeratul is a really good counter to Falstad, so how well Mysticles plays this in the laning phase is going to be really, really important. As we see the 3-man rotations to the bottom lane, they did lose quite a bit of soak there. 2 minions on the bottom half. That's going to add up here in the rotations. Even with Cho'Gall on the team, UTA is actually establishing dominance on the map right now with this laning phase. Interesting, the tri-lane is going to be Kael'thas, Fury on the Leoric, and then Uther. I definitely would have preferred to see a double range there. Li Ming in a solo lane is not very powerful.
Yeah, look how much damage she's taking. She doesn't have any real sustain, but Cure takes a lot of damage as well. If that missile hit, it could have been disastrous. But Beryl going into the last minute to get him to safety, and he has to tap the well. So Ball and Beast with a pretty strong start. The Hammerang has been used, and that could be a window for him to get a little bit more aggressive.
Absolutely, and on the lower half of the map, Fury and friends actually locked down with Gravity Lapse and a stun to kill onto that Rhaegar. And Ball and Beast, yes, he did get a lot of damage on Cure there and ended up walking away with the advantage, but I don't know if that's the case of how this lane should go versus just not playing very much against Li Ming. I feel like if he just keeps up the siege, he'll have a good time against her. But here, early rotation, Falstad staying up as late as he can, and really good poke. Health bar is definitely going to be in favor of Gale Force Esports here. Hexo already with the early cap, too. Not going to be able to zone.
Oh, Cho'Gall just barely missing that attack, and the Gravity Lapse connecting on Cho'Gall. This could be disastrous. They're using the sprint, but there's too much damage, and Cho and Gall go down. That is going to be 2-0, 3 kills over on the side of Gale Force early in this game.
And that was just the early rotation coming out from Gale Force Esports. Locks that in. Cho'Gall barely missing the interrupt there. Now, great job. Merc control automatically coming out from Gale Force Esports. Not only did they get the 3-kill advantage in that type of situation, they got the cap, which is going to be 4 shots in the core. They're not missing an ounce of soak, even against a semi-global hero like Falstad, and they're dominating Merc control. This is what they need to win this game. This is really good from Gale Force. That early game advantage I was talking about that I feel like they have. Oh, man.
My goodness. Just the combo. Zeratul walks up behind Falstad, throws out the cleave, and then just one magic missile and one orb, and it's lights out for the Chicken Master himself.
Yeah, and then on bottom lane, they're baiting these, they're kind of escorting these into the turret there. There they go. They're going to get more value even.
Oh, the body blocks. Huge. Very, very close. Mysticles not able to get that kill. Yuge is still standing, but it is 4-0 in terms of kills. Getting a bit of an update on the talents. We're actually seeing Force Armor here for Li Ming to kind of sustain through that lane with Falstad, and of course all that damage coming out from Gall, just really respecting that ability power that they have. We're seeing Vorpal Blade here, and Zeratul is getting very popular on that hero. And rollback picked up for Cho. Gall's going for bombs away, so they're really speccing into the rune bomb with this build.
Yeah, interesting choice out of them. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Leoric showing the double E talents there, which usually symbolizes an entomb here in the later half of the game to get damage on into the Cho'Gall there. Mystically is already getting the cap. Great zone from his team. A lot of cooldowns. Vert Falstad rotating a little bit too late here, and it looks like there's going to be a double cap here. Oh my goodness,
wow.
Gale Force Esports capping both while they worried about the team fight. They couldn't force because of their lack engage. They're just sitting there. They're a walking hook composition. They have no hard CC outside of that. And they end up with 2 shots on their opponent and also the XP advantage. That is a huge, huge.
And during the draft, I was a little critical on like the lone Leoric, but Fury is like buying. He's soaking up so much damage and just sitting there as long as possible before he Wraith walks out. And he's just like, they were wasting so much time trying to kill him there.
I agree with you, except for the fact that where you attribute that to the solo Leoric, I attribute that to the poor CC on the side of UTA. With the Cho'Gall pick and the Stitches, they have no hard early game CC.
Oh my goodness.
It's a walking hook, which is the kind of the dream when you're Leoric. If you can freely escape with your extended E, like Fury here, has nothing to worry about at all. Even when he gets out of that, the hook's all they've got. They have no follow-up.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to ruin everything, and he knows that. He understands that's all that he has to worry about, and he's abusing it appropriately. And really, honestly, I'm impressed with Gale Force. They are coming away with this early game exactly how I feel that they need to actually win this game here. They're winning not only in XP, but in shots as well. And honestly, I feel like they're going to walk away with this game if they keep this up.
Well, these Eye of Kilrogs are getting a lot of value, just revealing Fury, and Fury in a very bad spot. Gonna try to get out of here. The shield's coming out, and the heal from Uther should be sufficient. Turning around with that Drain Hope on Cho'Gall, but he's still at half health and needs to be careful. That poke is very, very powerful.
And though they are getting a little bit of a structure lead here on bottom, on top, Li Ming is now left alone to kind of do her own thing there and get a little bit of damage, so they aren't losing out too much anywhere. Race to 10 is going to be won here for Gale Force. What I'm interested to see is, do we see the Disintegrate, or do we see the Force? I don't actually know the other name of the other talent here for Li Ming.
Wave of Force, I believe.
Wave of Force. Are we going to see the Wave of Force? I know Disintegrate's kind of the casual go-to, but I definitely like the Wave of Force and think it has a spot there, so going to be interesting to see where Balling Beat goes with that as well. Level 10 advantage here. This is probably going to be 2 more shots. Great Entomb from Fury in the mid lane here, Jake.
Yeah, and it's going to be a dead Cho'Gall once again. The power of Entomb really being shown off here, and that worked out beautifully. We have Disintegrate going out with Estron pulling Yuge back. Not enough for the kill, but this will secure them a dominating position as it is a 3v5 with Cho'Gall falling for this altar, and both altars once again going to go to Gale Force.
Yeah, now they're going to start the boss here with this 10
like
advantage. Having Void Prism allows them to get away with this as long as they don't take the cleave damage in the front. Fury trying to soak as much as he can with this level 7 there. They are going to barely get away with this, and it does just an immense amount of damage, as you can see there. Nobody contesting them at all, and that was only possible because of their level 10 advantage, and even then a little risk, but really good job there from Gale Force. They are absolutely capitalizing on this early game far better than I thought they would. Really big shout out to them. As long as they maintain the Merc control and don't take too many risks here, they're definitely going to be able to walk away with this game. I'm just waiting for, more than anything, that Void Prism, Chain Bomb, S of Johan combo right out of the VP is just going to obliterate some kids.
Don't get me too excited.
That is what I'm looking for here, but Li Ming actually goes with the Disintegrate, so getting the Merc control on top, Jake, they're in a very good position here with Gale Force.
Yeah, a lot of the Shamblers have been picked up, just the one camp on the right remaining at this point. It looks like we're going to see Gale Force go pick those up right now. Getting a look at the numbers very quickly, Gall 15k on his side. It's actually Fury on Leoric topping the charts right now, but as Li Ming and Kael'thas start to get those juices flowing, I think they might overtake him in those damage numbers.
Oh, no, they definitely will, but keep in mind, Fury also has a little bit of skewed numbers. Not only has he gotten a lot of free harass compared to most compositions, but also against the Leoric, the percentile, or not Leoric, Cho'Gall, the percentile, makes it look like he is a monster. Hook coming out on Uther, it's not going to be enough. This is a 4 versus 5 in this situation. Void Prism coming out here.
Yeah, beautiful VP, and Stitches is very low. The Living Bomb will explode and take him out. Now, Yuge was locked down from that VP the entire fight, and the Entomb in a beautiful location. Fury, top of the well, going back in, and Central will keep Clawstacks alive, but a big Hammerang is zoning and doing a lot of peel. We see Mysticles on the bottom half of this fight looking for anyone that overextends their bounds. I love these positions on the Eye Kilrogs.
All in Beast with the coming up from behind here and not getting too much, but that feels bad, man. Can't even win a 4 versus 5 with this comp for the time being, and they're going to get collapsed on even more, looking for the reset. Ball and Beast in with the Disintegrate. Gust even being forced out of their opponent. Yeah. I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse here for the draft of UTA, and a lot of it just, it feels like it comes down to the lack of hard CC they have is in their comp. It's Twilight Doom. The hook coming out there, though. Mystically is in a rough spot. Watch for the S of Johan combo, though. The reset's all it's going to take for this team fight to turn around. Chain Bomb also coming in play for Gale Force here. Yeah. Jake.
Level 13 is there. They're looking for Disintegrate doing a lot of damage to Chain Bomb there as well, but Fury falling very early in this fight. Alam out rather low. We do see the Shadow Bolt volley raining through a few heroes, but is it enough? Mysticles juking there with the wormhole, but he does fall to the slam of Stitches, but it's Ball and Beast getting the magic missile skills, blinking forward with teleport, gets the pull in from S of Johan, and the mages pick up the rest of the team.
Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. And they ran into a situation there where they, like, Ball and Beast did get the reset and walked away from it, but even if he didn't, all they had to do was delay. Leoric would have spawned and ended up helping them confirm those kills even more, so they're going to get a big lead there again. Now, it's shots on core here at this point, 12 to 40, Jake. Level advantage, 2 level in favor of Gale Force. They sit in a situation where, honestly, they don't even need to risk anything. They can sit back, wait till 16, force a fight where they have a talent tier advantage over their opponents, and then proceed to win the video game. They are in a very, very good spot, and I really do feel like a lot of it comes down to that lack of hard CC. They have just no engage other than a hook, and they don't get really... Hooks don't become threatening until 16, right? So that call out with the Li Ming to the Kel'Thas in draft, really smart decision making here from UTA, but then it just felt like the back end of that draft maybe it pulled them a little bit too far away from the meta.
Well, we'll see. Cho'Gall in the front does get caught by the gravity left, so it does allow them to disengage safely, leaving rotating down from the top lane. The knockback onto Fury, but Drainhope keeping him strong, and Ancestral clutch on Stitches, but a huge Entomb Shadowbolt volley being soaked up by Fury. Hexo is rather low, but the gravity left doing critical damage that Disintegrate forces out a Molten Block, but the VP in the back on 3 out of 5 of the members. Hexo is super low, the hook is whipped. They're looking to do all this major burst damage. SF Jahan pulling him in, but the shields are there at the last moment. Gravity Left's whiffing on Falstead barely, and everyone gets out on the side of UTA.
Yeah, and that was only because Gale Force actually missed the Q there for the Seeker talent to confirm the kill there on the Stitches. Very, very close, and they showed that they come out on top there. Keep in mind, the Void Prism was canceled so early because it ran into a situation where they were trying to combo, but Essa Johan off that W, the orb, was already thrown out just half a second before that, so they realized they couldn't do anything, and they canceled it right away. 16 tier advantage is going to be picked up for them. What I'd like to see them do with this big of a lead is honestly enforce bottom. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get that before they cap the Shrines here, but Gale Force Esports winning the early game like they needed to and really coming away in this game.
All right, they're working on the Shamblers up in the top, but Hexo is being chased, and Cho'Gall with the flank kill. Thosman up position, but we see Shrink Ray used early in this fight onto Cho'Gall. Hexo needs that big heal, and he needs it now. Disintegrate going forward, but Rhaegar is down. Alam out, super low. The Ghost of Uther not able to heal him, and Cho'Gall popping that Molten Block, but it all seems for nothing. They're gonna trade. Oh, the Ancestral does come through. I lied. Rhaegar did live. Someone else died. It's Mysticlaze blinking out of the way, but Cho'Gall chasing, picks up the kill, but will he pay with his own life? The shield here from Yuge not going to be enough.
Yeah, and now we sit in a situation where that was actually a 4 versus 5. Their opponent's barely hitting level 16 before that fight. That was a good attempt from UTA to try and make a play here. Yuge is going to try and defend this. Might cost him his life, though. Entomb is not yet off a cooldown, I don't believe. I can't see it quite yet. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Li Ming does Li Ming things. Lioric gonna go out there. Oh, more. Oh,
yeah.
So close. Keep in mind, Li Ming's she does have Astral Presence. No Astral Presence at level 1. She has no way to stand a chance to stay here.
Wow, they actually stall it out. That's rather impressive. Gust was used. Fury going to try to buy a bit of time himself, but the peels are there, and now they're turning onto him. Do they have the damage? Alam out is up. Gravity Left's used on Stitches. We do see that he's getting out of there. Leoric is going to be safe, and they do manage to capture this back altar, but put 4 on the board for UTA Hot D.
Absolutely, and it might not seem like a lot there, but that was actually a silver lining moment for UTA in their comp right here. They did end up trading for the first time all game and actually catching up a level worth of XP because the fight was so heavily concentrated for Gale Force here, but in the mid lane, Jake the Entomb coming out, the Gust, the Void Prism, the combo, is it going to be real?
It's huge. It's a great start. Shadowbolt Volley not doing what they need. Meeling on the backside, doing a ton of damage. But Cho'Gall, though, is very low, going forward, trying to knock them back. Hexo is 1 hit away, does fall. The Ghost can still heal. Fury desperately needs the heals to get the one up, but huge caught by the gravity lefts will fall, and Cho'Gall falls as well. It's a 2 for 5 for 1 trade in favor of Gale Force.
See, and they decided to go for the boss here, which is going to give them a couple of shots, but I very much think that if they had decided to go for forts instead here, confirming mid fort, confirming top fort, and then confirming bottom whenever they have the opportunity, it will provide more shots than this boss will in the long run. They are making it's going to get a couple of shots here, but now structurally, they get those 4 shots, but then past this point, they aren't going to be able to essentially dictate the pace of the map to their opponents, having to choke them out of every capture point here. So they do take the boss, safe, easier play. I just feel like they maybe aren't capitalizing much as they can, but honestly, they have such a big lead at this point. Any cap point here at the 4 on top, 4 on bottom is going to be enough for them to win the game here.
Yeah.
Gale Force has just been playing this perfectly, Jake. I mean, they've been winning, honestly, 4 versus 5s when it comes to their comp, so I definitely feel like that's a big problem, but 16 tier finally hit. If UTA ever is going to have a chance, it's going to be right now.
Well, UTA needs this is their final stance. They need to deny both altars or this game is over. Now it's a best of 3 series, so it's not tournament point, but they want that prize money. Mystically is anxiously waiting around this altar, trying to juke it, but we see DXN with a successful hook onto him, just stalling it out for the timing. Shadow Bolt volley in the bottom. Gravity Lapse does connect here on Klistax, but we see the Molten Block use after Shrinko is casting him from Hexo. So Shrink Ray on cooldown. Hexo going forward towards Falsa. Not sure if they can lock him. A big entomb, and now Shogo. Oh, the channel was successful.
Yeah, Ball and Beast got the cap, and it was done. And that was really well done. That was because of that big team fight they did with that boss actually ensured into legal there. So really well done. Gale Force, I want to give credit to them snowballing that early game far better than I guess I thought they would. Wow, my green screen is freaking out. Sorry about that. But they
it's because Skype is poor quality right now. That's why. It's Skype's fault. It's not your green screen.
But anyways, really when it comes down to it is I'm torn. Like the Li Ming play came out and it was very well done. The Zeratul synergy with it, I actually really like the pickup. It's a deny pick and it's a synergy pick in the sense that it denies the counter. Zeratul would rip Li Ming apart and I like it. But it does come down to, was UTA's draft so wild that it was like the reason that game went down? Like I'm not going to be the guy who bashes on Cho'Gall. I just think that everybody else with Cho'Gall was so not well thought through that their comp just had almost no point like to come back. Even when they had 4 versus 5 fights, they forced 2 of them and they lost both of them. There's a problem in your comp if that's happening. Yeah. There's probably a little draft issue there.
The Cho'Gall was cute, but
yeah,
it didn't work out.
With the preface of Falstad, Stitches, and Rhaegar in that situation, I definitely like to see him pull away from it. But Li Ming came out not getting too many resets. Keep in mind her health bars of the opponent she was facing were colossal, so it kind of makes sense there. But really well done. Gale Force pulls away with game 1.
All right, guys, we're going to get game number 2 set up, so stay with us. We'll be back after a very short commercial break. Alrighty, guys, welcome back here to the Divergent Gaming Grand Finals. My name is SolidJake, and I'm joined here digitally by Dreadnaught with that super esports Skype quality. Oh, are you still muted? Are you muted on your side?
Hello?
Oh, you're there. You're there.
Hello? Yeah, no, yeah, with that super digital, at this point, I look like I'm becoming Super Saiyan with my green aura around me, slowly but surely.
Oh, God, you're making it worse. Don't move. Stop. No.
Either that or the Hulk. Either way. I mean, it's a good thing you guys aren't here to see my face and watch the games instead. I think there was a draft link given out here. Here it is. I just got it. Maybe is it okay? It's yet to go out here. I can give it over to you. Really good game 1. I'm gonna blame draft. Honestly, I want to see more out of UTA. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know what? That was a really dominant performance from Gale, which it was. And obviously, with the pickup of with Fury on their team, they honestly have a phenomenal roster. Can't take away from them. But I'm a believer in the game 3 of the best of 3 here at the Grand Finals of the Divergent Gaming Amateur Tournament, and I think UTA's got it in them. All I think they need is -1 Cho'Gall plus some more just not Cho'Gall, and I think the odds of them winning this game could be pretty high here.
I believe it, man. I believe it. Cho'Gall was fun. It was interesting. It was neat. I appreciate the effort. But let's see something else. Now, do we know them? Oh, we're about to find out the map. We got the invite.
I do. It's the Cursed Hollow, which is going to be awesome. I personally think this is going to be a strength for Gale Force. Actually, I don't know. UTA showed their shot calling was actually pretty good, forcing 4 versus 5s when they were down talent tiers, like to try and make something happen on the map. But Gale Force also, their split decision making. Honestly, I feel like the early game Gale Force just outplayed their opponents. Like, yes, comps were a problem, but the fact that they were so easily able to they bodied them on every front for the first, 10, 15 minutes of that game. And I don't think that came out of just accident. I think it just showed how strong of a team they can definitely be. So I think it's going to be a good map for both these teams. Gale Force is going to have to show that they have what it takes. Do you think Li Ming's going to make it through the draft after that first game?
No, man.
You think that was the problem? You think Li Ming was big enough problem that everybody's draft just went like, sorry, the green, but still, it
just a few heroes just blew up and died. She's got such good focus, and this is cursed. She's really good at poking, And
I agree. This is probably a stronger map for her than others because rotations don't matter as much. Her strength grows insanely, right? Wave clear doesn't matter as much as well. So I agree with you there. This is a better map for her.
There's also a lot of locations where she can teleport over the wall, and that gives her another strength. Like maps like Tomb, where you can teleport over the wall to get out of a lot of bad spots. And there's a lot of situations here where you can do that as well. It just gives her like such a different kind of feel than like what you can get away with than Jaina or Kael'thas, even though they do have their own sustain in different ways, like Gravity Lapse or Arcane Barrier or Ice Block. Li Ming's got mobility.
Yeah, and Gale Force hovering, actually locking in the ban on the Zagara. So there we go. If my prediction was right in the grand finals, how it's going to go blow for blow here. This is going to be UTA letting it go through, letting Rhaegar go through as well, and also leaving up KT. They're going to be banning something they don't want to see otherwise. I think like a Tassadar or Stitches, maybe a Jaina possibly. It all really comes down to them. Also, they could obviously break from that pattern, but I really just want to see them going through. I feel like they provide great games. There it is. They're going to go with a false set as that answer. Got to let them both through. I think Gale Force is going to answer with the Rhaegar pick here. I don't. If Li Ming is ever going to be stronger than Rhaegar, if ever, this is probably going to be the map. So I can see them choosing her because the wave clear doesn't matter as much. But Rhaegar is the first pick, first ban. Man,
he is Rhaegar.
There's never been a meta where Rhaegar was first pick.
And he is my most played hero. He's my favorite hero in Blizzard. Don't nerf him. He's perfect how he is.
I mean, I agree. My subscriber chat message is literally the Master Rhaegar blue shoulder pad. Like that's how much I like Rhaegar.
I was always baffled as to what the heck that was.
It is.
Well, now we know.
But anyways, UTA going to lock in that Li Ming as the counter. Where are we going to go in here? Are we worried about the Thrall now that they have Zagara is going to be banned out with strong solar laners? Not as much. And Zeratul, pairing it with the Zeratul, both teams very much worried about the Zeratul on their opponent's side if they lock in the Li Ming. But giving them up a Kael'thas in this type of situation, along with the power of Rhaegar.
All right, well, great synergy having these two together for sure. Very powerful as a pair. This is identical from the Game 1 draft, just opposite. Well, the bans aren't, but they just flop sides as to who is playing who. Gale Force, absolutely. You talked about big laners. We got Thrall as that big option.
Yeah, Thrall it definitely provides a lot as the big laner. One of the reasons I think they're avoiding that is, honestly, I feel like Gale Force just straight up said, we're going a Stitches comp. Are you going to be okay with that? I think that's Tassadar that early just said that. I wouldn't be surprised if UTA banned it.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point. Maybe they're trying to even force that ban. Having Tassadar locked in, very flexible hero, good control. I mean, Falstead's off the options in terms of what's available.
Yeah, UTC is going to be the ban there, letting it go through. Keep in mind, Stitches is an option UTA can pick as well. Zeratul works pretty well with him. Falstead being banned out as well. So maybe they don't expect it to be a Stitches. I don't think Gale Force is going to ban it by any means. They'll probably be looking to more of a support-oriented ban here. Probably, they might go with Uther. I don't like this pick at all. I actually... This one has me a little bit torn. If Gale Force goes with this ban, I feel like they ban out their own options more than they take away their opponents.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd for sure, and they're letting Uther through, so they're giving that big support over to UTA. And UTA could still go for Thrall. Like, Thrall Uther seems like rock-solid options for them right now.
Yeah, I think with UTA, going Thrall with the double melee is something that, unless they show they prefer... There are certain teams that obviously love that melee-centric playstyle, but unless they show that, I don't think we would see it from them.
That's
I like the Jaina pick.
I always think of Zeratul as like a in-between.
He really is, but he's like he is melee enough to where it's like you can't be like, you know what, let's stack a lot of these.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But his playstyle is very caster-esque, so it makes sense why you interpret it that way. All right, so... no healer. I honestly don't. They shouldn't fear a double healer here. They're going to look to lock in a tank. Stitches is banned out. They're going to hover the Muradin there as the solo tank. ETC is going to be gone as well. So Johanna is really the only other realistic option for the solo tank. And I agree that on this map, with it being this big, is not going to be worth it. The CC is going to be far more valuable. UTA has a pretty strong comp here. I don't know if I'd be willing to say that they've won the draft yet, though. Gale Force, Tassadar is the option here. What are they going to pair it with to not fall behind in the damage? They don't have the Stitches.
Yeah, no stitches available. But no, oh no, the Gale Force, don't do this to us. Don't do this to us. They're so confident that they're gonna grab Cho'Gall themselves.
Oh, I mean, it's like, honestly, at this point, they're like, would you like us to show you how it's done? I mean, really well done. The Brightwing, I'm guessing this is a polymorph as an answer for the Cho'Gall this late in the draft now. Tassadar is going to do a decent amount of shielding to help keep him up. Rhaegar as well. Chain Bomb having a solid damage dealer up with them to help provide the actual damage. So let's see what Gale Force's comp is, right? What do they have going for them? What do they not have going for them with the Cho'Gall? What is a pattern we see from last game that we saw UTA struggle with?
Well, they certainly struggle just having control, but they have a lot more of that. But okay, I like Charism a lot more than Brightwing, that's for sure. He has the flexibility. There's very little control on the side of Gale Force. They just have Gravity Lapse and Force Wall, really. But I'm thinking the cool thing about Tassadar, and the reason I like Tassadar, is if we see Upheaval, Force Wall could be disastrously powerful.
Absolutely. I agree. I just fear their CC again, right? And I know I'm crazy and come from the other side, I guess, when it comes to how Cho'Gall should be played. But if I don't see Upheaval here, I'm going to be really, really sad Panda again. I just feel like they don't have enough hard C2C to really ensure any kills. I do like this comp. If there is an Upheaval moment, keep in mind Zeratul is actually kind of a soft counter-ish to that, especially in the later half of the map or game. When you look just sheerly off comp here, if you were to give it to somebody, Jake, who's it going to be?
You know, as weird as it is, I like Gale Forces. I think it can work. Like, at the few times I've seen Cho'Gall with power, he's been a lone warrior with a very supporting type of composition behind it. They've got that one big damage to Kael'thas, and the poke of Kael'thas, Tassadar, and Gall is going to be quite powerful. But the Zeratul Li-Ming Jaina is also pretty darn scary.
I mean, I'm gonna sit as the guy who doesn't believe in Cho until proven possible.
Wow.
I want to believe just as hard as you, but I honestly feel like all it takes is one good Void Prison, and every single fight's gonna be lost by Gale Force. Void Prison's gonna, every time it hits Cho'Gall, it's two people out, so it's easier to hit two isolated targets if he mispositions at all. Or if he overextends, it's gonna be decent response in the backline. I do think Upheaval might provide a hope for their team, but if they do go the other ults, I think it's going to be even harder for them to win a game. And I don't think Li Ming's going to have very much effectiveness this game. I think it's all going to honestly come down to Zeratul, Jaina, and Seven-Sided Strike. I think are going to be what the indicators of how well this game is going to go for UTA. But I like what they're doing. The isolation, Seven-Sided Strike, good amount of reset damage. The Void combo that possibly could come out from Li Ming, Jaina. I mean, think about it. Huge Blizzard damage there. A root at 16. The Jess of Johan pulling them in even more. There is potential. But I mean, I don't mean to be the party pooper. I just like to be realistic here when it comes down to the comps. I don't know if I believe in the Cho'Gall quite yet. I think the buffs were definitely a step in the right direction, though, and I guess we're going to find out. Can Gale Force establish dominance, say, hey, we know you guys might be like Team Blaze and Heroes of the Dorm, but just give us a second. We're going to show you how to play the Cho and play the Gall.
Hey, man, we'll see. Now, one thing to point out is it is going to be a pretty dicey window for Cho and Gall between 10 and 13 when Seven-Sided Strike is a massive threat. That's the only big threat to Cho Gall that could, I mean, it could be 49% of his health pool just gone like that if it's single target on that hero. But once Molten Block is picked up, it's a great response. You can force the Seven-Sided Strike out and then pretty much just completely negate it by popping Molten Block. If Yuge is actually really concerned about this, he might not even go Seven-Sided Strike.
I think there's no way he doesn't. I'll be totally honest, just for the Cho.
Yeah.
I just think that it's too value against Cho'Gall to not take. And I also feel like Palm doesn't gain much effectiveness against their team except for I mean, maybe the kill toss damage overall. I feel like it's going to be inevitable we see Yush go with the 7-sided here. Keep in mind, level 1 talents, Astral Presence being taken by Mistax here, giving him a lot more early game, mid to late game damage or mana to produce more damage when he gets the resets here. Also, tri-lane decision making here from them with the Jaina and Li Ming. I really like this choice from UTA.
Yeah, this is a very powerful bottom lane. UTA in the blue, Gale Force in the red. Match point, tournament point for Gale Force at this point in time. We'll see if UTA can bring it back here in the grand finals. 3 in this bottom lane, hiding in the bushes. If Ballin Beast isn't careful, this could be disastrous. But he's well aware there could be shenanigans aloof.
Yeah, and Cho'Gall is going to be in the upper lane, already trying to get that siege on. Nobody really keeping track of him. And there, I think actually Fury and Lamau. Anybody who cares Lamau, did he get one shot?
No, it's just he overstayed his welcome. The new tower damage is just so much. Yush just died. Like it looked like he AFK'd almost. He just wasn't thinking. Or he disconnected.
He might have DC'd. Yeah, that would make sense.
That would also make sense.
Nobody responding to top yet. I just wanted to comment on how awesome Fury and Lamau. Anytime Gall's on Lamau, just having Lamau at the ending of somebody's name is an awesome thing. So he's got one of the coolest Cho'Gall. It's Fur Lamau. It's it's just the greatest name ever on the Cho'Gall there. But obviously going down the early pick there, not a true indication of like a misplay or anything if the DC came into play there. But UTA, what I'd like to see from them in the early game, I think a lot of it's going to come down to, and something the viewers should keep in mind too when understanding Cursed Hollow with the Cho'Gall being in play here is how fast Cho'Gall rotates to the tributes. If he hesitates on his wave clear at all in the rotation, and it's on the opposite side of the map, he alone, just by his lack of presence, can give up a tribute. Obviously, that can happen with anybody, but having double the bodies attached to it, it's something to be hyper aware about. Also, at level 1 here, the Tacet are not taking the increased range, so delays are going to be a little bit less effective on his Zaf. Also, Fury going with the increased Q at level 1. I know that's kind of like my oriented build, which I think might be hopefully a sign of upheaval at some point here. But other than that, nothing going to be crazy here with the level 1 talents.
All right, Mistax is back in the game. Yeah, speaking of the Surging Fist, could mean going for the upheaval, like you said. Just really good for getting out in general. And Shove. So they're also getting that mobility there from Gall. So Shove is now a level 1 talent. It used to be level 16 or 13.
16. Yeah, 16.
And they have swapped that up. But we are back on into the game. We can see Mistax is alive. And for Lamau, getting that Sage on. The Rune Bomb, the Dread Orb. Really very powerful Siege out of Cho'Gall.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Claudius is the response to this, and Claudius has no hope in this lane. Like, he is going to get sieged on very, very hard, and if bottom doesn't capitalize, that death on Yuge, honestly, that DC really hurt them because they aren't able to capitalize on this. They're almost losing a siege to the top laner already, and Mistax now, they're finally taking advantage of this, getting a little bit of siege, but right now, when it really comes down to it, it's a dead even trade so far. Oh, now, slowly but surely, UTA getting the advantage here. That's why I like this tri-lane. Look at that siege potential. Taking advantage of Cho. That was what I was talking about last game. He can't rotate very well if you push in the opposite lanes and take advantage of it, and here they go. Finally, UTA is going to be able to do that here in this game.
All right, the last tower in the bottom lane does go down from the magic missiles. Jaina with a wave here. Ballin Beast pushing out a little bit aggressively, but without those towers, it's just a matter of time before they start taking more into the back line. Getting that grab left, a Feral Lunge in on the Mistax, but Hexo stepping a little bit too far forward. Might go down. Yes, all 3 magic missiles take him out, and he does end up falling 1-1 in terms of kills this game.
Yeah, and they need to push this bottom lane advantage as hard as they can because they are losing a little bit on the top. There you go. They need to just get that wave clear out. Also, keep in mind, mana here for Cure is extremely low. If the tribute's going to spawn anywhere from 10 seconds from now to 40 or 50 seconds from now, if he doesn't back in that amount of time or tap well, he might be low enough to not actually be able to fight over this tribute. There he goes. He is going to get it back there. Smart decision making from them. And look at top. Claudius is just getting bodied in this 2v1.
Wow, the Rune Bomb will not connect, but they do get that next, what's it called? The
Shadow Bolt?
Shadow Bolt volley. Yes. Oh, Shadow Flame?
I don't know. His Q-Talent, I actually know the name of it.
I'm thinking of Shuttle Volley. I think you're right. I'm like, what is the
This
name of that ability? I've never
That's
cast.
That's got to be his ult. His ult is the volley.
Shuttle Volley. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm the worst caster in the world. Confirmed.
Rhaegar is actually taking the Giants and Kael'thas staying on bottom. This tribute is pretty much like 100% going to be UTAs. The question is how long can Mysticles and Furlamau delay? And Mixtax with an aggressive rotation there. Furlamau being a little bit out of position, going to surge out and get out of there. But showing on bottom, Claudius is going down to Silk already, knowing that they're going to give up this tribute. It's really just a delay game. How effectively can Gale Force delay UTA?
Just barely missing, but they do get the Shadow Flame out onto Yuge at the last moment. Ruin Bomb and the Dread Orb flying forward, actually both two stacks connecting on Yuge there, and they're stalling effectively. Big push in the bottom lane. Claudius hit by the gravity lapse, will end up dying to the Living Bomb, and somehow, someway, mystically, the Radiant dash to stall. Very nice by Yuge.
See, Cure just made a really, really questionable decision here, risking his tribute now on top by giving his team the man advantage. There it is. So he gave his opponents the man advantage, or at least matching them on top to win this lane. He's not going to be able to defend this fort at all in this 2v1 with these Giants. So he essentially said, you know that tribute you guys were doing so well to delay over? I'm going to go on bottom. There he goes. He gets stove and he ends up getting killed. A lot of that came down to overreacting to try and save an objective rather than accepting the fact he can't win it and capture the trib on bottom. He ends up dying on bottom and giving himself a fort. This has been, Gale Force has been capitalizing on their opponent's mistakes left and right this game.
Absolutely beautiful start by them, though. Like, I just, the stall from Furlamau, Cho'Gall, beautiful stall. Double kill and a fort down here, escorting these Giants from Bull and Beast and Hexo, or Ball and Beast, excuse me. You can't ask for a better first tribute. They're up a full level, but like you said, a lot of that is due to the mistakes of UTA Hot Deep.
Yeah, the rotations just have been very almost panicked, if you will, rather than well composed and just trying to hold their own. But they do. It's not like they're out of this game. They definitely, like we said, compositionally have a way to get back in here. And Cure with a big flank, Miztack's going to get dove here. The kill's going to come out, but that's going to be one dead Furlamau. That will be 2 kills. The question is, how long can they delay them, and when the tribute's actually going to spawn is really what's important here.
All right, Furlamau going maybe a little bit too ham. Oh, Surging Fist, Radiant dash forward. Rhaegar will have the chain heal. Is it enough? Totem going down, trying to buy some space. Sprint has been used, but Surging Fist not enough to get out. Hexo now in a bit of a bad spot. The rotation from Claudius, and that is a 3-for-1 trade. Not worth it at all.
No, they didn't even confirm the fort on top. They risked the level lead that they have. This is going to be a tribute now in their opponent's favor. Now Boss is coming to play too with that tribute spawn, depending on the rotation. Jane is staying top, so they're probably not going to show anything when it comes to that. But yeah, that was definitely, I mean, there's not much to say other than just not worth getting a little bit too high feed there on that Cho'Gall. Keep in mind, they did have a little bit of playroom there with how big of a lead they had. They just essentially closed out that gap, though, taking what would be an almost unstoppable lead when the curse in level 10 hit for their team to now where they definitely gave their opponents an even playing field.
Okay.
Hammer of Twilight was picked up by Cho'Gall.
How do you feel about S. Johan being passed up for Charge Blast?
I personally don't like it too much, but I don't think it's a bad pickup. I think just S of Johan is just absurdly good. Jaina getting killed actually there. Didn't even see that. That was my bad.
Yeah, I didn't either, so
shame on us. I think it was on bottom, on the lower half of the map. Top? Okay,
yeah,
so Kael'thas winning the 1v1. Yeah. So his team still would dictate the pace of this game because the 1v1's being won. But the level 4 talent, Charged Blast auto attacks, I feel like it takes away from... It makes sense because they aren't going to have very good wombo. There's the isolation attempt. 2 ults going to be down now.
7-sided strike just barely missing. Only 2 shots, but now onto Furlamau. And that Twilight of the Twisting Nether going out. Ancestral Heal is there. Twisting Nether not doing as much damage as you might have dreamed for, but still a big threat having that being cast. They didn't go for our people, though.
Yeah, they didn't go for the upheaval, sadly. They did end up going with the Twisted Nether, though, which is going to explain why he went double Q talents to get in there as fast as he possibly can on his opponents. Really good job from Fury to end up going up with those. And we do see that KT's going to get that cap. This is going to be a 4 versus 5 push here without a level lead. Fury, no Q is going to be available. It does have the mobility, still force wall coming out to zone his opponents, and really smart decision making there from Mysticles to get that zone. Keep in mind, 7-sided and VP are still on cooldown.
Yeah, two very long cooldowns. Kill Foster rotating down from the top, ready to defend this mid wall. Disintegrate cast early in the fight, not doing a whole lot. Gravity Lapse, that makes him a free target, but Misex with the teleport to safety, able to get away from Cho'Gall on that approach. A huge force wall. Huge has to Radiant dash back, and he throws down the healing ward, but Cho'Gall on the approach. Seven-sided strike as a response. The Rune Bomb, not enough for the kill, and the additional range there from Surging Fist. Getting the huge chase here on Huge. He will go down to the Shadow Flame, but back in the mid lane, Claudius gonna fall to that knockback from Cho, and Rhaegar going forward with the Feral Lunge, getting the shields from Tassadar, but Blizzard too much, they have to back away.
Yeah, they're going to end up getting this cap, which will be a curse here for Gale Force Esports. What I'd really like to see after this is push on mid as hard as they can. By taking out mid, the XP, what I want to talk about here is really the XP on bottom is going to stack. Because this fort is dead on the lower half of the map, if they do push on mid and then they push on top and then look to back out and take a boss, what this does is the XP on bottom will stagger so much because the curse is in their team's favor that they can put their opponents, like right now they're wasting siege time. They could set it up to where Zeratul has to answer to the amount of XP that's going to stack on this front wall and then abuse that to get a boss later. Instead, what they're doing right now is essentially saying, hey, yes, we have a curse and yes, we have a big advantage, but we want to risk the opportunity for you to take a team fight and us not to capitalize on our fact that we have all your structures crippled. I mean, they're abusing their lead here, but I very much feel like they just gave their opponents an opportunity to respond to bosses. And this is the kind of decision-making from Gale Force that I feel like if they cleaned up a little bit, like, this game would not honestly even be close.
Well, we'll see. Murden actually quickly dwarf tossing away. If his team got engaged upon without him there, that could have been a little bit disastrous. Huge being caught up with the Radiant Dash to Claudius. Good on Claudius being there for his support to be able to get out. This boss going down bottom will be able to get through this fort even with the curse active against it. But the boss here in the top lane is a massive threat, even though the curse is expiring.
Yeah, and they do end up walking away the curses. The curse does go down, but they trade it with the bosses 1 for 1 there. Mystically's back to defend as best he can. They obviously get more value out of their boss there, but I really do feel like they could have gotten much, much more out of that curse. The siege on mid here, level 13 tier advantage. The isolation coming out, the ice block coming into play too. Really good job there, SolidJake.
Yeah, big molten block. They're looking at Claudius. The gravity lapse over the wall, enough for the kill. Disintegrate going in, and Ancestral on Furlam out, keeping him up. Furlam out, Surging Fist through the entire team. There's a lot of damage, and Hexo in the front going in. Does die, but not before doing a lot of damage himself. Huge is completely secluded, and Surging Fist would spell his death. Leeming picked off over the wall from Cho'Gall, and Huge falls as well.
Can we talk about that 4 versus 5? Did anybody realize Tassadar was bottom that entire time? That fight was only won. I'm not even kidding you. That fight was single-handedly won. Great Ancestral, great Netherwind. They did a lot of damage. You know what really dictated the pace of that fight? Cho'Gall hit a 4-man bomb. He hit a 4-man bomb. He took everybody's health pool from half to 25% with one spell.
While fisting. It was the double. It was the double.
What just happened there? That was absolutely insane. They did so much damage within that one bomb. Really well done there. Great Ancestral coming out to keep him alive as well.
Good.
I mean, the Cho'Gall play here from Gale Force Esports, definitely that whole pat on the back to show you how it's done. They're definitely, right now, they're kind of putting on a clinic.
They certainly are. Wow. Excellent, excellent play. 2-level lead, getting a bit of an update here on the talents. We now have the sustain style Tassadar. Dimensional Warp is picked up, even going for Deep Shift in this game. Rising Storm, this is going to be so disastrously scary on Cho'Gall. Didn't even go for Earth Shield here in this game. They went for Tidal Waves. They want just more chain heals, but still, the damage done from Rising Storm, especially paired with Electric Charge, is rather impactful, and Crippling Blow picked up here in that Surging Fist, even more powerful now.
Yeah, and that's the second time he's actually taken Tidal Waves instead of the 13 tier. I honestly think it's the way to go, personally. Yeah. The Tidal Waves essentially allows you to ensure the fact that your team gets an absurd amount of AoE healing. It always procs and gives you a reset, whereas last time it was only if it healed the target. So really good there. Yu's getting caught out there. Great force wall, great pick, and that's going to be another cap there.
Yeah, it's a big win to get used in that situation. Radiant Dash, you didn't have another one in the tank ready to go. And they're actually going to look to siege up this bottom lane. They can easily just throw one hero back to grab that tribute, pick it up. They've just reset the tribute count. No curse is imminent, but Rhaegar will be doing that solo in the back behind the rest of the push.
Yeah, no, that's a smart decision to take out this front wall. They have a man advantage there as best they can. They are losing a little bit on top, but it's totally worth pushing this 16-tier advantage. Giants are going to be sieging up. It's a little bit risky to be staying longer than they are here. Past this first initial wave, It's going to be risk. So let's see how well they played out here. Zeratul understands that this is a high-risk, low-reward play, so he's going to be trying to capitalize. Great use of Tassadar Oracle there.
Yeah, Hexa lunging in with that feral lunge, but they're retreating. That keep is incredibly low. They're just trying to keep those giants alive for a few more bombards, and the siege of Cho'Gall and Kael'thas will be enough. The first keep goes down, or second keep of this game goes down in favor of Gale Force, but level 16 is almost here for UTA Hot D.
And I feel like if UTA, if Mistax had ended up hitting just like a little bit of a combo there while they were sieging up, that would have been a much scarier siege. They do end up walking away pretty much unscathed, but the 4 versus 5 being forced here in the mid lane.
All right, Disintegrate used very early, but it is a rather short cooldown. Mystically is really staying far forward, throwing out that forest wall, but he does have prescience. But the 3-man VP going down. They're trying to get the set up. The orb goes out, but it connects on the minion. Very unfortunate. Tassadar still alive in the back, but their setup was completely flawed by that catapult. The orbs are bouncing everywhere. Ancestral Hail has to be cast, but the Twisting Nether going out. 7-sided strike not doing the damage they wanted. They get the 1 kill, but Ice Block from Jaina sustaining through the damage, but he will fall regardless. And Hexo going to look for that feral lunge onto Muradin. Not enough damage, overcommitting at this point, chasing this far.
Yeah, that was an insane use of the ultimate there, too, from Cho'Gall. They're going to lock in those kills. They aren't even worried about the tribute right now. Interesting decision. All 4 of them choke towards like they're going to go for core, realizing that might be a risky decision, then back out taking the tribute. Boss is now coming into play there. Not locking in a keep there at all as well. So once they get the second tribute, they don't really have much to worry about as long as they don't risk a crazy boss. If they trade bosses in every situation now, because both lanes, they do not have, or they have a keep down against their opponents here. They don't really need to risk anything. 2 people dead. They're going to take this boss, most likely take their opponent's other boss, get level 20, and then look to force the game off of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a close fight there for UTA Hot D. If that catapult wasn't there and they actually got the orb in with northern exposure and all this AoE damage, it could have looked a little bit different, but...
Yeah, it definitely could have. I don't know if it would have been enough, but it definitely would have been a lot closer.
Lamau getting the 7-sided strike in full force and just forced to back away. Too much of a threat for him to even consider standing on that point.
Yeah, and because of the rotations of getting a little bit too slow to get to that boss, instead of being able to threaten core here and not getting level 20 at any time, they are probably going to take the back, sit back and clear his position, largely because a 15-minute boss isn't going to do much, especially after going to go through a keep here. But they're trying to keep him distracted, so the keep will go down.
Okay, Arcane Barrier keeping him alive, but Zeratul is the one that goes down, and DXN trying to get out of here. Surging Fist still ready here for Cho, and the Force Wall comes out. DXN, does he have Dwarf Toss available? Feral Lunge with the bite. Dwarf Toss goes out. Mistax super low. Twisting Nether has been cast. Mistax barely getting into his base, but Muradin not going to be so lucky. Going to end up falling to Kael'thas' Living Bomb.
That's 2 people dead, and there is going to be a core attempt here, I think, coming out from their opponents. Keep in mind, Void Prison is on cooldown, or off of cooldown here. So if they don't do this in the 15 seconds all in the core, they might have a hard time being able to end this with the VP, but it doesn't look like it. The shields, Cure is going to die. If Cure dies, then 100% ensures that this game is going to be over here. Ice Block going to be used there, yeah, and that's going to be GG, ladies and gentlemen. Gale Force Esports saying, hey, you know that Cho'Gall? We've got it. And they end up pulling out game number 2. The confidence there from Gale Force, man. Very impressive against a team that has recognizable people on its roster. I mean, a lot of Blaze, ex-Blaze sitting on UTA's roster, so really well done from Gale Force.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to Gale Force. That was beautifully done. They made that Cho'Gall style was actually so scary. The Surging Fist talents paired with Twisting Nether, which just received a big upgrade in this last patch. I mean, the damage output is ferocious now, and we saw that power going in, forcing out the Ice Block from Jaina in that last fight where she was able to sustain through. Someone else fell before that. Zeratul was already down, but it was just a full disengage where they were just in a losing situation.
Yeah, no, they played it really well, and I like the Twisting Nether pickup. I really do feel like it was part of the reason for their success. With the upgrade to that talent, or the buff to that with the last patch, I feel like they just they used it perfectly. The very ending fight there, they hit a huge Nether on multiple targets, and then used it as kind of a zoning tool to ensure the kill on Muradin. I mean, honestly, Fury and Lamau played Cho'Gall far better, I would argue, than their opponents in Game 1. It's not even the fact that Cho'Gall is a rough pick to pull out. I just honestly feel like that Game 2 was a pretty confident showing that they just outplayed their opponents. when it came to both of the games, really, especially game number 1. But I do feel like I said, the comp was maybe a problem game 1, but really good job from Gale Force Esports coming in here and just establishing dominance. They look scary as a team. They actually do look scary.
Like, they're definitely a contender when it comes to qualifying for one of those spots here at the NA Regionals. And
absolutely,
it looks like they've got a good grasp of this patch, that's for sure. So really excited to see where they go in the future. Of course, guys, the Divergent Gaming Open happens every single week. Normally it is on Divergent_Gaming, where you can find it there on Twitch. Dread, you cast it quite frequently, actually, do you not?
I do. I've casted it every weekend except for one since I started about a month ago casting. So, and I plan to be there every weekend as well, guys. So if you enjoy anything, also if you have any feedback, please hit me up. I definitely enjoy the criticism. So thank you very much for each and every one of you guys tuning in. That is on the Divergent Gaming, Divergent_Gaming is their Twitch. So thank you guys for tuning in today and hopefully in the future.
And their Twitter is DG_open, and just divergentgaming.com has all the info that you need. Dreadnaught, where can all of these lovely ladies and gentle nerds find you?
My Twitter is down below. It's at TempoDread, and then my Twitch is going to be twitch.tv/Dreadnaught_heroes. And then for anything involving coaching or just overall gameplay, criticism, or anything else, my email that you guys can reach me at is going to be dreadnaughtcoaching@gmail.com.
Ooh, so fancy. Well, you can follow me at Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at SolidJakeGG, and I'm just going to plug my new-ish series, even though there's like 48 episodes now, Daily Quest. It's an educational series that I do 4 days a week, so it's pseudo-daily, I guess, at the end of the day. But, I accept replays submitted from everyone for my casts every Wednesday and Friday. And you can get all of the info for those casts each week at solidjakegg.com, my brand new website, which is still very much in development. But I implore you to send me your replays of your best games on Hero League, Team League, whatever, scrims, tournaments like this, to solidjakegg@gmail.com. It's all so simple. It's all so easy. And a shout out to Divergent Gaming for having me tonight to cast this event, and to you, Dreadnaught, to cast together for the first time.
For the first time. Definitely, hopefully not the last. I definitely enjoyed it. And so thank you also for you are leading the show and it's your channel and everything else. But since I am at this tournament quite often, thank you for joining me here today at the Divergent Gaming Amateur Tournament, guys. And really a shout out to Gale Force again to be able to walk away with the number one. Going to be the defender for next week. Yeah, exactly.
Last but not least, this weekend, this Sunday, is the second North America qualifier. There will be 4 streams covering it. Stream 1 is actually going to be you and Josheb. That's one of them. Are you with Josheb again?
Yeah, I do not know if my pairing is Josheb. I'm expecting it is because they haven't told me otherwise. But yeah, I do believe me and Josheb, and we'll be on Josheb's channel there. It's at Josheb, I believe is just it's at Josheb.
Gillyweed SE2 for Gillyweed and Zoya. I believe we have Shane Gucher with a different partner, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has a new partner. I think it might be, I don't know if it's been announced yet, but I think Shane Gucher is one. And then I'll be casting with Dunk Train as Kubi is out of town. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. No, that actually would be a fun cast to tune into. If I had the time, I'd definitely be there. So Dunk Train, my boy. Shout out to Dunk. Support life.
Support life. I'm a support main too. Where's my shout out?
So I shouted it out to you already. We're casting together.
All right, I'm greedy. I'm greedy. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. GG's.
See you, nerds.